back to the KDPG Sunday edition. I'm Megan Schiller. Pop quiz for you. What do the Cork Factory in the Strip, the Dormont Pool, and the Union Project in Highland Park have in common? Well, they are all historic buildings that have been given new life. It only happened after they were featured on a list by the Young Preservationists Association of Pittsburgh. Every year, the group puts out a top 10 list of historic structures that are in jeopardy, but also have the opportunity to be restored. Our guest is the head of the Young Preservationists. Matthew Craig serves as executive director of the association, which educates people about the importance of historic preservation. We're also joined by Jerry Micco from the Post-Gazette. So thanks so much for being here, guys.
It's an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So our first question for you, we've decided, is what is this list and how do you get on the list?
Thank you for asking. The first thing I would like to say, though, just is a quick shout out, a thank you to our funder, the Allegheny Foundation, because without their help, we wouldn't be able to compile the list. The list is actually driven by the community itself. We ask for nominations, and people are very gracious to kind of be our eyeballs around the region. And we really want to bring in a lot of young voices into this process. So that's a big part of our DNA. So the list is generated by the community, and then we curate it and pick the 10 most, the best opportunities for reuse and repurpose.
Okay. And what guides that, the best opportunities? Is this, if it's in the middle of a development, perhaps maybe that's a little bit difficult because you're gonna have to negotiate with the developer, or it doesn't matter? It's like these are the ones we think should be and have the best case to get done.
These are all places that would really generate a lot of life in the community that they're in. You know, they're symbolic pieces, but they're pieces that can have an impact by, you know, if I take a step back, if you know about the broken window syndrome, you know, if nobody fixes a broken window in a neighborhood, crime can increase. But if somebody does fix that window, the entire neighborhood can become safer. So really what we're looking to do is to find the places that by their preservation and restoration, they can have a very big impact on the communities that they're in.
Can you talk us through the list that you have for this year? 10, we'll pop it up on the screen so people can see. And what are some of the stories behind these 10?
Well, everybody locally knows about Froggy's Bar because it was such a historic night spot and attracted people like Jack Nicholson and, of course, our own Mario Lemieux. So the Froggy's Bar at the corner of Market and First in the historic significant because it's one of the last remaining commercial buildings from the 1860s. So if you can imagine, and we can imagine, work that we've been doing with PHLF on what that would look like if it were restored. I think it would be a great boon to that side of town, but that doesn't mean that there aren't some significant issues that have to be negotiated, and we're trying to negotiate those in good faith with the owners of the property, the Troiani family. And I would like to say that they have been very open to having conversations with us, so I'm very thankful for that. Hamnet Place, we're specifically talking about the 700 block of Whitney and Lamar Avenues in Wilkinsburg, which are these beautiful Queen Anne and Colonial Revival homes. But in that one little block, there's about 20 to 25 vacant properties. And so the idea is, can we take a look at how to restore the health of that neighborhood? And that was driven by the community themselves. They reached out and they asked for some help. And so we're trying to be part of the opportunities that are there to create a better neighborhood and building on the work that PHLF has done in that area, which has been very significant.
So the goal then is always to try to find a way to not only keep and restore these properties, but to make them useful in 2019, 2020, make them something that will help not only the community, but also be something that the community can thrive around, if you will.
What I like to say is that the buildings have to earn a living. So they just can't be restored just because we like seeing them there, right? They have to really
work for it.
Yeah, they have to contribute to the purpose that they're used for. Number 5 on our list is Saints Peter and Paul Church, and as we all can recognize, there's a lot of churches that have become abandoned over the last decades. And every church in our community was built to be of service to the community. And when people reach out to our office and ask, well, what can I do with this church that we have? You know, there's 1,000 answers to that, and every answer is correct. Really what needs to happen is that the community needs to come together and talk about it. So what's happened with Saints Peter and Paul in East Liberty, I think is kind of a model for what the process is. We brought in Partners for Sacred Places out of Philadelphia, and they're national experts at this process. And we did what's called an asset mapping. We looked at what does the church have to offer to the community, what could the community use, and then we did a design charrette about taking those assets and figuring out ways that they can contribute to the community. So it's one of these things where it's about a conversation and bringing everyone to the table to talk about it.
How do you decide if the building is worth preserving? What if the building is past the point of repair? How do you make that judgment call?
That's a great question. The thing that is very important to impart to people that ask, just because it's old doesn't mean it's historic. So there needs to be a sort of understanding about what important elements does this building hold? Was it somebody famous had lived there? Is it an important architecture style? So there are, criteria that you have to look at. Just because it's been there for a long time doesn't necessarily mean that it's historic. But really, the extra purpose that it might have, if you can see, boy, if this were restored, it could really have an impact on this whole block. And that's kind of what we like to look at. What's the environment that the building sits in?
So one of the great things, or one of the things I think your group would like to see, would be a historic building that is maybe redone and redeveloped into, say, stores or shops or something like that. The one in the Strip District, the Cork Factory,
The Cork Factory.
It's
Very cool.
apartments.
Right.
Which is great, right? Because you got this historic place, but you got some really nice apartments.
And I think that that's a good point, that there has to be some element that its usefulness is kind of revealed. One thing that's on our list is the SCI, the Old Western Penitentiary. Now, I got to be honest, that's
That'd
very
be cool. Turn that into apartments.
well, very small apartments,
small.
right? A lot of very small apartments.
Bars on the windows.
Apartments with no windows.
That'd be very, very challenging, right? But that was community driven. Somebody reached out and said it would be an interesting thing. So I like the idea that some very creative people with great imaginations might in fact be able to figure out something to do with that. But it's right there on the river, and there is potential, but you do have to have the mindset to look beyond what it was and try to envision what it could be.
Is it cheaper or easier when it comes to parks? I saw parks were on the list.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would be more challenging or less challenging than a building.
Our number 10, we always try to have a sort of broader category, and recognizing the wonderful works that the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy has done to our historic parks. Another group of our friends at Preservation Pittsburgh, they're trying to nominate some of those buildings for the historic register. And really what we wanted to say was looking at the built environment, and Pittsburgh is very blessed by having these beautiful historic parks. We just wanted to make sure that we could shine a spotlight on them in our list, just so people don't take them for granted.
Good idea.
Is it, what do you find most challenging in all this? You've got this great list. A lot of people love historic buildings, they love history, but what's the challenge here, the biggest challenge you face?
I think the most important thing is that you have to put in a sense of urgency when you're dealing with these properties, because some of them will be done in by demolition by neglect, right? That they've been sitting there empty for so long. Really, the key thing for an old building, you've got to keep the water out and you've got to keep the heat on. And if those things aren't happening, then the longer they sit vacant, the harder it's going to be to restore them. But I honestly keep a very positive attitude about it. These things can take a long time, they can be very expensive, and you do have to prioritize where you're going to put your time, where you're going to put your money. But ultimately, what we're all trying to do is we're trying to preserve these unique elements of the architecture history of Pittsburgh. And if I showed you a picture of Pittsburgh from the 1950s and a picture of it today, and asked you which of these two towns would you like to live in, you would pick today. But that doesn't mean that we have to lose these unique elements of our the historic fabric of the city. So we're trying to find that right balance so that these places that are really unique and beautiful can still be of service.
Why are you passionate about this? Why pick this instead of new construction?
That's a great question, and it's very simple for me to answer. I'm interested in the stories that took place in those places, but also the stories that can take place in those elements. And if you sit in a place that's just beautiful and beautiful stone and brickwork, and they just feel comfortable to be in. And there's a human element that some of the new buildings don't necessarily have. I know some developers around town are doing great work, so that's not to diminish anything that they're doing. But it's also just about recognizing the beautiful work that happened before.
And a drink just tastes better in a historic bar, right?
It does.
Well, we really appreciate you bringing the list and explaining it to us today. Very, very cool.
And thank you for your questions. I found them to be very incisive.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to be right back in a moment when the KDPG Sunday Edition continues.